Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the latest episode of Birds vs. Boys as we look forward to Thanksgiving and week 13 in the NFL season. Also, the last regular season week of college football, which is absolutely banana land to me that we are at this point. Can't wait. Some very intriguing matchups in college football. I cannot wait for these playoff games on college campuses. I think the atmosphere is going to be insane. But we have a couple weeks to talk about that. We are here, you are here to talk a little bit about the NFL, the Cowboys, the Eagles. And Aiden, if you are watching on YouTube, real quick, I haven't said anything to you yet. I know Halloween's over. I know Thanksgiving is only in a couple days, and then we have Christmas. But I dressed up today, almost in a costume. Do you know who I am?
You have a backwards hat
Did you watch
on.
Monday Night Countdown last night?
I didn't know. Oh, I know. I know from Twitter, though. I know from Twitter.
Who am I?
Are you Stephen A. Smith?
I am Stephen A. Smith.
Nice. I like it.
I just I didn't even have the sound on. I put the kids to bed. I turned it on. I'm like, what is he doing?
He went full LA. A little
he,
too LA.
he literally looked like Steve Buscemi in that episode. He's like, "What's up, fellow kids?" It's like he should
Yeah.
have
How do
had a
you do,
skateboard.
fellow teenagers?
Hilarious. But welcome everybody. We have a lot to get to. The Cowboys don't know how to tank. You and I haven't even really. I mean, we talked at the end of that game for a split second. Your hairy chest was out because you just got out of the shower on FaceTime, and my 2-year-old daughter was waving behind me. But what the hell was that?
Kevin, what that was is why the NFL will continue to be the billion-dollar empire that they are in sports, because the slate a week ago made sense that it was going to be good. It was Commanders Eagles for the NFC East. It was Steelers Ravens for the NFC North. Another chapter in the rivalry of Bills Chiefs, and a great Sunday night football game, Chargers Bengals. You look at the slate this week and you think this is absolute slop. These teams are bad. And for a while, it was. And then you got overtime in Vikings Bears, which happened because of an onside kick recovery. The Bears were down 11 in the fourth quarter. You had overtime with the defending Super Bowl champion Chiefs and the team we presume to be for 2 months the worst team in the league, the Panthers. And those two games weren't even the craziest because Commanders Cowboys was one of the most insane experiences of all time in football. And if that weren't enough for you, just cherry on top, if you watch Texas Titans, a kicker set the record for most 50 yards field goal made and then shanked one from 30 to lose his team the game. And that's the NFL. Even when you think it's bad, it's chaotically good.
And Commanders Cowboys was 9-3 at halftime.
It was 13-9 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, the Cowboys scored 24 points in the fourth. Do you remember when do you think the last time they scored 24 points in a game was?
I don't think it was this year.
They were week 3 against the Ravens. But that was also an insane fourth quarter comeback where they were down big.
I was going to say they weren't even really in that game for 3 quarters.
My one question to you before we kind of dissect and move on is end of the game, right? Cowboys score Washington scores, misses the extra point. Cowboys up by 1. Onside kick. You are Wanye Thomas. Doesn't get to touch the ball a lot, is a good player, never probably going to score an easier touchdown in your NFL career. You get your hands on that ball. Are you going down or are you trucking to the end zone?
I'm probably going down, but at the same time, I see that mindset where sometimes when you're on the highway and there's no cars around, you don't realize how fast you're going. And you look up and you're like, oh shit, I'm going 20 over the speed limit. That's probably how he felt. He had a clear path and he was like, oh man, I didn't even realize I went 20 over into the end zone.
It's just I don't know. I mean, that I think that goes back to coaching. But
Really, Cowboys.
What a wild. It's almost like Jerry kept calling down and was like, guys, we need to lose this game. And special teams, Turpin was got the phone call. Hence, he let the ball go through his legs. But then he's like, nah, and picked it up and took off. And Jerry lost it. And then Jerry called down to Zimmer's like, dude, we need to lose this game. He's like, got you. Told all the guys, he's like, just let them go. They were just 86-yard, one play. And then their kicker missed.
He pulled a Deshaun Jackson on the kick return. Oh, and by the way, I told you this when we were on FaceTime. Uh, it actually got better. I had Terry McLaurin in fantasy. So I got an 86-yard touchdown on a miracle, and then the team lost anyways, which helps my team in real life. It got
Mhm.
better that day.
It
I had Cooper Kupp, and I never play people
oh,
against the Eagles, but I had so many bye weeks and injuries
had
that
to.
I had to play him to field a team. We go up 21 and he scores a garbage time touchdown.
Perfect.
I just sit there sometimes watching the Eagles this year and just maniacally laugh at some of the things that are happening.
It's just perfect. So yeah, the Cowboys, they don't know how to tank. However, I will say, you know, you and I have said they don't even know how to be bad in the right years. Like this is the worst year to be bad because so many teams are bad. So they were
Yeah.
ninth. Now they dropped to 11. So I mean, they only dropped 2 spots. Like there is a shot. Like you win that game and you like in other years drop like 6 spots. Um, but now looking forward, you can't win another game.
You can't win another game, but all hope is not lost. You could have like a generational defensive tackle who is supposed to be the number one overall pick and gets passed on 8 different times.
Mm,
And then if you're at 11, you only have to move up one selection and give up like a fourth round pick with a team
mhm.
who would need a generational defensive tackle. And you get that player. And then, like, sometimes the defensive rookie of the year doesn't get drafted because everybody wants an offensive guy. So he falls all the way to pick 22, and you don't even have to trade up to get him, and you draft him. And then sometimes somebody who's presumed to be a first round pick falls to the second round, and your division rival is willing to make a trade with you so that you can move up and get that player. So all hope is not lost for the Cowboys. You just need every other front office to be as bad as the front offices that the Eagles work with.
Or you could just trade back away from Terry and Arnold and then draft the left tackle of the future who has the most penalties in the league this year.
That could also be a thing.
We could
There
do
is
that.
Listen, there is something to the tank, but it is certainly not the NBA, and there's talent to be had. Sometimes you just got to draft good players. We're going to talk
Yes.
about the Giants later, and I just want to we'll talk about it. All hope is not lost for the Cowboys, and if there's one good thing that coming out of that game, defense still looks good.
Um,
Wonder Boy,
yeah.
Jaden Daniels had 80 yards passing
Mhm.
before they got those 2 garbage time touchdowns. Oh
Well,
boy.
and that's my other point with this and Dan Quinn at the end of this game is you score that touchdown, you have Jaden Daniels against this defense, like from the 2 yard line. Like roll him out, and chances are he's so tall and lanky, he could just like reach to the goal line from the two. Ha-
Good point.
Go for two.
Yeah, good point.
I,
Yeah,
your kicker has also been off
and
already.
hurt. He did not play last week. He was hurt.
Yeah, so I, I don't know.
Also,
I know
kickers
he
are
said
cursed.
there was never a thought to go for two, and I understand the analytics and the thinking. You're at home, you tie the game, you go to overtime. You also have that that mindset of like who's the better team. They are the better team, so you try to outlast them. However, you also have to think who's playing better that day, and Dallas did
House
outplay
was.
them during that game.
They did.
So go for two, the win at home. You've already had walk off wins this year. It's kind of like you're messing with magic. Like you
Yeah.
need to keep imploring the magic, right?
That actually is a good point that I think the fan base would have been acceptable. Like,
Mhm.
they would have if the Commanders would have won for 2 and not gotten it, they would have been upset, but they would not have been angry at your decision. Because, like you said, they have a magic genie who grants them 3
Yes.
wishes per game, and it's usually, can somebody catch a Hail Mary at the
Yep.
end of the game, and that wish gets granted. So, yeah, you're right. Go
And
for 2.
the genie basically said to them, "Oh, you're not gonna rub the bottle here? Okay, fuck you. Guess what's gonna
Yeah.
happen? You're gonna
Yeah.
miss."
Should
That's
have
what the
rubbed it.
genie said.
Always should rub it.
Rub it out for the genie. All right. Let's I mean, you guys had a that was just if you want to touch on any of the Sunday night game, a fun game,
Mhm.
a game that even though it was close at points, I never once thought the Eagles did not have that game in hand.
I never once all week didn't think they had that game in hand, to be totally honest with you. I said I think I was confident when we did our preview show. I was like, I'm confident. It might be close, but I think they have a pretty solid, like, one possession handle on this.
Yeah.
It's now getting absurd the way they're beating teams. You look at this winning streak in every game, they have outgained their opponent,
Mhm.
outsnapped their opponent,
Mhm.
and obviously outscored their opponent.
Mhm.
In most of these games, it is not close. In total yardage, they have the highest plus minus in the league. This is not, oh, they're getting by the skin of their teeth playing some bad teams. They are steamrolling teams at this point. And now, great matchup this week against the Ravens. Watched them last night on Monday Night Football. Glad they won that game because I don't think a 7-5 Ravens team loses at home coming back against the Eagles. So I
Very
feel a little
beautiful.
bit more confident. I feel less confident in this game on Sunday as I did about a week ago against the Rams. But it'll be a great game. And wow, there's some things that you can take from this game and from this winning streak that say, yeah, I could be confident going into Baltimore.
Yeah. Did you see the video of Saquon on the sideline asking about the football?
Yes, hilarious because he asked the ball guy if he had it. And he was like, Saquon, you threw it into the stands, which was really funny.
That just shows you the mindset of like athletes that just when they say like I like Anthony Volpe when he hit the home run for they're like, so what did it feel like going around the bases? Like I blacked out. Like
That'd be me.
Saquon blacked out in that moment. You know what I mean? He
Yeah.
was just like forgot.
Like a guy going home for Thanksgiving, he blacked out in the moment.
We're trying to think what the adults are doing. I'm trying to convince my in-laws to sleep over tomorrow night because they're coming to our house for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
I'm like, why don't you guys just come over and then you can spend time with the kids early in the morning, aka they can be here and then we can go out
There you
tomorrow
go.
Wednesday night. So,
Hey, do you still have the neighborhood football game?
I don't know, but now I'm not going anywhere. Ooh,
Yeah, you could play this year.
good point. Oh, I better go stretch.
There you go. I was gonna say, we're at that age where that could be a good thing or a bad thing that
Yeah,
the teams are
I'm either
playing.
going to be sitting on my couch eating turkey or I'm going to be sitting in the ER
Well, yeah,
eating turkey.
honestly, how
Yeah,
many how many urgent cares do you think like urgent care
oh,
patients are related to like a turkey bowl game? At least 1,000, right? In the
it's a
United
great
States,
question. There has
1,000.
to be. There has.
Could we look
I
that number up, or if someone listening look that up and
please.
scream it at us virtually?
Like one of those like bar charts, and all of a sudden it just like the line goes up on Thanksgiving. Like I
Yes,
would say top top 3 reasons probably of urgent care or 911 calls on Thanksgiving. I would say burns or fires
mhm,
from with the turkey, especially the people that do it in
definitely.
the smoker or whatever. They deep fry them. Choking probably.
Good
Uh,
point. Bones in the turkey.
heart attacks just from fat people and political arguments,
This year, yeah,
domestic
this year.
violence, and probably turkey football games where people are snapping
Turkey
legs
football
and
game.
ACLs.
Is Thanksgiving low key the most dangerous holiday?
Probably is
I guess it
actually.
is.
If you think
They
about it
always
that way,
talk
yeah,
about,
at least, yeah.
yeah, New Year's is always dangerous because of like DUI, but that's just
Mhm.
one thing, one incident. You got like 5 different ones to take consideration on Thanksgiving.
Especially after this election, I think there's going to be
Oh,
a lot of anger flowing at the Thanksgiving table.
yeah.
Um, there's going to be anger probably for me for different reasons having to watch the Cowboys on Thanksgiving.
Yes,
Um,
let's do it. Big
and
slate,
now
by the way. Lions, Bears, the marquee match of Giants, Cowboys, and then the late night game, Packers, Dolphins. Let's get into your game.
it's like
We're all looking
all of
forward to
those
this one, right?
games at the beginning of the season, you're like, this is an unbelievable slate. And now it's like, this could be horrendous.
You're like, oh, when's my nap?
Yeah, literally.
Anytime.
So let's dive into the Cowboys game a little bit with the Giants. So this past couple days, first Daniel Jones goes up there and gives this like soliloquy of his time with the Giants right after coming off the practice field um, as as a safety. Um, they bat him out at safety for the practice squad walkthrough. He comes out, loves his time. Thank you. He blames himself for not winning as much. And then all of a sudden, the next day, we hear that he asked for his release. The Giants granted him his release, past waivers. Everyone's like, the Cowboys have the moment to do the funniest thing of all time, sign Daniel Jones, start him against the Giants. That would be the funniest thing and would be amazing. There was zero chance of it actually happening.
No.
The chances of him signing and actually playing on a short week anyway would never happen, even though at this point you just do it and you say fuck it and it would be awesome. But that's not happening. And now there's tweets that just came out, Adam Schefter, Ian Rappaport, that Tommy DeVito has a forearm injury and is not, quote, 100% to play on Thursday. So now would it be actually even funnier if the Giants just brought Daniel Jones back for like a 10-day contract and started him on Thanksgiving again?
The funniest possible thing would be Drew Lock starting because
Yes.
they signed him to be the backup and then won't let him be the backup. And now they're out of backup options and he would have to start and they would have to pay him for playing. And he's better than Tommy DeVito. So he's going to ruin their draft stock because he's actually better and can actually throw the ball to Malik Neighbors, who's spent 2 months in New York and wants to unalive himself. Every post game press conference with Neighbors, he's like, this was the best one because it was just like the most spot on thing that you probably shouldn't say, but everyone could see it. He's like, I didn't get the ball till we were down 30-0. What do you want me to do? And
What
it
do you
was
want me to
so
do?
true. He had 0 receptions at halftime. They were down 30-0. Then he goes for 6 or 64 in the second half. It's like, but what do you want me to do?
And they asked him, they're like, why? And he's like, I don't know. Go ask the head coach.
Yeah, which you can't say, but
He
solid
did.
question to ask.
So what you're saying is they're going to start Tim Boyle.
They could start Tim Boyle. Who was the guy on the Broncos who had to play quarterback during the COVID year because
Oh, the
they
wide
didn't have any
receiver.
quarterbacks?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I forget his name.
he actually played kind of good.
He
They
did.
lost, but he did not
Yeah.
play bad.
Didn't he play? He played quarterback in like high school or something.
Yeah,
Hilarious.
that is
Uh,
funny.
but this game just went from like Cooper Rush to it's just the whole thing. It's just blah. It's boring, and it's when you're in this moment, right, as a fan like me right now,
Mhm.
and you and I both love the draft. So I want a high pick. I want to be able to talk all off season about a top 5 pick and the options that we have, rather than talking about pick 27 and we made it to the first round and lost again, and now I'm talking about Tyler Guyton.
True.
Um, so I'm excited. So I want them to lose. However, it's like you're in that moment. And like the other day against Washington, like I hate Washington as a franchise. So I'm like, need them to lose. And then every time they're like doing
Yeah.
something good, like it's like Godfather 3. It's like just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in. Not
Oh,
thinking I
wow.
think they're gonna go to the playoffs or anything, but when you're in that moment and it's like just you're being to root for this team and you've rooted for this team your whole life, it's so hard to pull back and you're like, no, I don't, you know what I mean? So
Oh,
like
I definitely
I
know.
want
Like,
them to
we're, like,
win. I want them to
programmed to be competitive. Like, it's
yeah,
within our nature. Going
yes.
back to the beginning of time, like, if you don't get to eat somebody else, like, every animal in nature is like, I have to be competitive to survive. It's just programmed within us. So to sit there and be like, "Oh, well, I'm not rooting for this team because it helps our draft pick." Like, yeah, that makes sense, but when your team scores a touchdown, it's kinda hard not to be like, "Hey, I'm excited that
Yep.
CD scored," you know?
Yep. So
I
I'm angry that I have to deal with that on Thanksgiving.
It's well, and that kind of leads into one of the points I have. This is a PSA. I think we need to have a serious conversation about sports betting because I used to like it a lot, and I haven't been lately. Please don't bet on Giants Cowboys on the holiday.
Yeah.
Please, like, enjoy the dinner with your family.
Mhm.
Please do not have yourself glued to the television for Cooper Rush versus Drew Lock in a game between two teams that are fighting to tank.
Yep.
Like, don't put money on this and ruin your holiday.
It's going to be very interesting too. We saw 2 weeks ago where Texans fans basically took over AT&T Stadium and the rest of the half of the stadium was seats with white towels on them. Um, and usually FedEx Field is taken over by Cowboys fans. And it was not the case this week. There were not
Yeah.
nearly as many Cowboys fans. Giants fans usually travel well, but they stink. So it's like, who's going to this game on Thanksgiving?
Do you think people go just because it's like their event? It's like holiday tradition because the Cowboys have been on Thanksgiving. So it's like,
Yep.
oh, we get the family together every year to go to the game. Or do you
Like
think
Mike
people are like,
Tag.
Yeah, exactly. By the way, boy, was he right. I
Mhm.
won't the whole he was spot on
Spot on.
with his take.
Yep. Yep. I I've always thought about it. I'm like, that'd be cool to do. But then it's like, I'm gonna leave my family to go, or like, can you imagine me saying to my wife, like, hey, like even in like 10 years when the girls are older, like, let's go down to Dallas, go to the Cowboys game for Thanksgiving. I No,
I think it would be good content to watch
it
you ask her just
would be
so I
great.
could see what the response would be.
She
It's
would just
definitely
laugh.
a no, but
Yeah, she would just laugh. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see the vibe in that stadium. Is it just media members that are there or what? I I don't know at this point. Micah Parsons has looked good recently. I will say Golston on the line has probably been one of the most underrated players in this line. The story behind Butler, who played cornerback the other day, he's been on the practice squad for like 3 years and has just been like one of those guys that's just like been there because they have like 30 guys on the practice squad. Never gave up, always showed up, and he came, and played admirably well. Now, he had 11 tackles, and listen, you don't want that many tackles as a corner because that means they're coming at you.
yes,
But,
Darius
you know,
Slay.
stepped in there with Diggs out and Bland being limited in his first game back. It was impressive. McLaurin was kind of shut down in the first half. So, I unfortunately think I haven't looked at the line. Have you looked at the line recently?
I have not. I might have shifted with the DeVito news, but um, I think the Cowboys will probably be favored at home. Actually, I know they'll be favored at home. I watched the first half.
Yeah.
The YouTube TV gave you like Sunday ticket for free this week, which
Oh,
I'm
I
very
didn't know that.
appreciative
I
of.
have YouTube TV. I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, they sent us an email. You got it for free this week.
Oh, you know what? It's under my wife's name. She got the email. Thanks for
She got
telling
the
me.
email. Yep, she didn't tell you.
Yeah, she
Well,
purposely she saw that and she was like, delete.
delete. Yep. You didn't miss anything in the Giants Bucks game. I was watching because I was going through all the games. I was obsessed with how much football I got. You didn't miss much there. That was one of the worst offensive halves of football I've ever seen in the first half from the Giants.
Mhm.
I don't. I think the Cowboys win this game going away,
Three
which
and a half
will
point
probably just
favorite.
make the fan base irate.
3.5 point at home. So basically just the home. Um it pains me because now seeing them, this is almost like I don't know if you remember this team. Um the 2020 team. They were kind of at the exact same point. They were 3 and
Yep.
7 after 10 games, and then they went 500 down the stretch. And it's like, please no. And I don't think they're going to go 500 down the stretch, right? Because they got the Giants. The Bengals are kind of beat up, but like I think the Bengals should beat them. Panthers, I think the Bucks will beat them, and then they got to play the Eagles and then the Commanders. So I, there's some losses in there. I hope a lot of them, but what the Panthers, man, just
uh, I don't know if you saw that game. Bryce Young,
yep,
awesome.
yeah,
He made
he's
some
revenge
throws.
tour.
The revenge tour. Good for him. This wasn't like throw him a bone, hope he does well. No, these were big time legitimate throws. And a lot of it was they were sending the house. And he had one a gain of 12 to Adam Thielen on a 4th and 3 to save their drive to send it into overtime. He was so good. It
Yep.
was the best game I've seen him play.
Question for you: could this year's Kansas City Chiefs be last year's Philadelphia Eagles?
Damn it. I
What
had
is that?
this
Your
take written down.
my
I
bad.
swear on my life, I wrote that down. I thought about it yesterday. It was in process, and I concocted it, and I was ready to roll with it today. I was literally about to say that when you said
My
it.
bad. My bad. We did
That's
not talk
awesome,
about
though,
that
that you
for a
thought it.
second. But like the vibes kind of just like the record, the vibes, like the game against the it just seems like the wheels are gonna fall off. Now, maybe they have uh Patrick Mahomes and he can keep the wheels on, but I don't know.
I totally agree. I think that's a great take. We will co-sponsor this if you want to jump in with me. Investors, possibly you. We're the two stepbrothers trying to
Yeah,
pitch the Mahomes dynasty as being bad to everybody.
it's
To
over.
everybody, they're like they go through the pitch in Step Brothers and they sink the boat at the end. That's us flashing. Would you like to invest in the Kansas City Chiefs back-to-back Super Bowl champions actually being bad? And I'm like, what are you doing?
They are very bad.
Yeah, they're not that good. They 5 of their 10 wins have come on the last play of the game.
Mhm.
It took a overtime win against the Panthers in which Mahomes got sacked 5 times. The offensive line wasn't that good. The week before, they needed a blocked kick against the Broncos. In between that, they played a real contender in the Bills and
Yep.
pretty much got manhandled. Yeah, they're 10-1, and the vibes seem very similar to the Eagles, where for 11 weeks we kept saying, well, they keep winning these games every time it looks ugly, but hey, they're winning.
Yep.
And
Doesn't
you're
matter.
like, let's just ignore the red flags because there's wins. Chiefs wise, feels pretty similar. And yeah, they don't do a lot of things well,
No.
right? Like they don't protect Mahomes. They couldn't get off the field against Bryce Young. And I was reading an athletic article and I was like, this is last year's Eagles, where
Yes.
they're like, they didn't want to really talk to the media. The offensive coordinator was like shaking his head coming out of into the locker room. The tackle was just like sitting there despondent, didn't talk to anybody. Mahomes wasn't talking to his teammates afterwards. They just like wanted to go home. And they won, but nobody, it didn't feel like a win. And that felt like every Eagles game was like, well, they won. Nobody feels that way, but they did. So yeah,
And you
Chiefs.
know what you know what's at the end of it, right?
End of what?
The end of this season once they turn into the Philadelphia Eagles of last year.
A collapse?
A Kelsey retirement.
A Kelsey retirement. True. That is true.
It's all there.
It's all coming together. It's
They
all coming
mhm,
together.
mhm.
Now, can we put an asterisk?
They even have their homes being robbed from a South African gang.
That story's going under the radar in a way I don't think it should.
Right. It's
That they are, yeah, that seems insane.
and then now the NBA's like literally the leagues are sending out warning memos to their players.
Are we just gonna have like a opposing syndicate unit that just protects celebrity homes from a crime syndicate unit? Like they just formed a South American Ocean's 11. Is pretty much
Literally.
what happened, and everyone's ignoring it. This will be a movie in Hollywood in 10 years.
I, I said to my wife, I'm like, if I was Patrick Mahomes, like if I have a wife, 2 kids, I'm living in this mansion. I also showed this mansion off on a show that the whole world saw on Netflix.
Yeah, probably a bad
I'm
idea.
hiring like 3 former Navy SEALs, and I'm just like, "You live here now."
I think it probably has to come to that. I assume they have security though.
I ADT? Like,
I don't know. I thought they had security guards like at the property. I
I
thought
yeah.
famous people had that.
So now it's like an Ocean's 11 movie. Like, they were involved in it and embedded for
Crazy.
years. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. So that is wild.
And then
And
they wait, did you hear about Kelsey's watch?
no,
They found it in New Hampshire, like 2
they
days ago.
found it though.
One of his like $20,000 watch or something. They found it in New Hampshire.
Well, I don't know who they're gonna hit in New Hampshire that's famous, but they need to be on the lookout.
Huh? Mhm.
Yeah, that is a crazy story. And just put an asterisk next to the Chiefs are the 2023 Eagles take. It doesn't happen this week because they're playing the Raiders on Black Friday, who lost Gardner Minshew and don't have a starting quarterback right now. So please don't hold us to this take until next week.
Any chance? I don't think Daniel Jones would go there. He says he wants to go to a contender, but I mean, going to a contender, he's going to back up. He could start for the Raiders the rest of the season,
He could. Maybe. He wanted to go
right?
to a contender, which is hilarious.
I
Good
mean, he
for him,
wants to
though.
go to
Get a ring.
Minnesota.
He's got
He's
all the
not
money.
starting over Sam Darnold.
No.
I don't understand it. And he wants to go to the Ravens. Is he just hoping Lamar gets hurt? Like, I don't.
He's like the anti-Raven, where they always have like dual threat. I guess he is a dual threat quarterback. You always forget that because he does dumb stuff. Him and
Mhm.
Will Levis can run the ball. Bo
Yep.
Nix is actually good. That's another thing.
How
I
about
like
that?
the Broncos. I think that they're all right.
Yeah. Yep. So we'll see. Yeah. No, I don't think it comes this week either.
No.
Putting a bow on the Cowboys. I mean, I unfortunately think they win this week at home, but they have not won at home this calendar year. So
Do it for the people on Thanksgiving.
do it for the people. Let's go an entire calendar year going over at Jerry World.
Crazy to
How about
think of.
did you see all the people like Jerry had a piece of paper? It's the conspiracy theories always with Jerry. It's hilarious. They flashed to him in the booth and he had like a piece of paper and he was like holding it and everyone's like, "See, he's calling plays. He has a play sheet. He has a play sheet. He's calling the plays in." I'm like, "All right, guys." Like
Those are the conspiracy theories that are, they're QAnon level. There's a reason QAnon was able to have the success that they did, and it's
yeah.
people who think that a piece of paper in Jerry Jones' hand means he's calling the plays. That's why.
Listen, Jerry's a lot of things that he is not. There's a lot of theories around Jerry that are correct. I don't think his brain works fast enough to call a play in every 35 seconds.
No. No, not a yeah, good point. Not a chance.
No chance. All right, let's shift back over to the. It's always sunny in Philadelphia right now, except now I just got an alert also that Embiid and George will miss their third straight game tonight or
Let's
tomorrow.
not talk about that because it might be time on Embiid in the knees. Like they might be hamburger helper cooked. And I'm very scared about that. So let's focus on all the good things that are going on with the Philadelphia Eagles. They pass another test with flying colors. Now, what can we take from this game that will relate to Sunday against the Ravens? One, and this is the obvious one, Saquon.
Mm-hmm.
It's Kevin, I sit there and just maniacally laugh every time he takes off. We were up 30-14, running the 4-minute offense, and he just takes off for another touchdown. And I'm just sitting on my couch. If anybody saw me, they would think I'm the Joker from Dark Knight Rises because I'm just sitting there like a maniac, laughing to myself at the television screen. Every time he takes off, I do it because I genuinely cannot believe that he is a Philadelphia Eagle. So
When he takes off like that, he looks like it's Alabama versus Mercer.
I said this to my friends in the moment on Sunday night. Watching Saquon is like, you know how every town had that kid who was like a
Yeah.
blue chip running back prospect?
Yep.
So he was playing like a opposing high school full of future accountants. That's Saquon, but he's just doing that to NFL defenses.
Yep.
So it's very
Wild.
fun to watch. Him
Wild.
against Derrick Henry will be must see television in a great, great matchup. And for the Eagles stopping Derrick Henry, the one thing that you saw from the Rams that I'm sure other teams will try to duplicate, send as many bodies at Jalen Carter as you humanly can and
Yep.
make sure somebody else has to make the tackle. And it worked for the time being, but did not work over the course of 4 quarters. But I assume that is a strategy that other teams will try to duplicate, including a Ravens team that wants to run with Derrick Henry.
And I will say about Saquon as well. It is time. This, if there ever was a year, this is the year that we stop the MVP is automatically a quarterback award. Now, who is
And
Josh
warranted.
Allen? Maybe, but like beyond him, who is above Saquon right now?
If you look at the odds, it's Josh Allen, Lamar, and then Saquon.
All right,
But
Lamar.
the pace though, look at trajectory. Like he has the ability to pass them, and it is warranted. Like I do think it's become a quarterback award. Maybe people have like quarterback fatigue on it, but I genuinely believe like his stats, he's gonna surpass Adrian Peterson if he stays healthy. Chris Johnson, he had the most rushing yards in an NFL game since 2009. Jamal Charles. So these are just kind of becoming undeniable stats. And if they keep winning, like for instance, I think head to head matters.
Yeah,
And it usually matters because there's quarterback to quarterback. But if he puts a buck 50 and a touchdown on the Ravens and the Eagles win on the road, like it's then becomes really hard to vote Lamar over him, right?
agreed.
Like, so I genuinely think he has a good case at MVP. And this week probably, I don't want to say decides it because there's still a month to go. But man, yeah, he has been awesome.
Unfortunately, so.
He's the best. I'll just get the Giants rant out of the way because I do it every week and I just keep seeing it.
Really, really quick about him, and I heard this yesterday. And it was actually a really good analogy by Mad Dog Russo. He
Don't
was
say
like,
that to him.
"Listen, I'm not killing the Giants for not re-signing him. Right? He fits perfectly on the Eagles. He's like having a superstar running back like Saquon on a bad football team is like having the number one closer in baseball on a horrible baseball team. It's
That's
like
a
the
great
last thing you
analogy.
need. He's like, what? Okay, it gets you from 68 wins to 74 wins. No one cares. Like Saquon on the Giants is not like, even if he busts that 70-yard run, guess what? They were down 30-7 already. He's the perfect fit on a good football team with Philadelphia. He is that like missing chip.
That is a great analogy to compare him to the baseball closer, and I think they even did that on Sunday Night Football. They
Oh, did they?
compared him to Mariano Rivera, which
Yeah.
is perfect. But also, just like with the Giants, that is true that running backs on bad teams don't tend to matter because you're behind by so much. Here is my problem with the Giants, and I actually looked this up. I understand not wanting to pay an alpha RB1 and save that money and spend it elsewhere to help rebuild your team. Okay, let me just read you the free agency class of the Giants that they spent money elsewhere to improve the team that was
Probably
not
better than the
Saquon
Cowboys.
Barkley. Are you ready? John Runyon Jr.,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Jalen Mills.
Mm-hmm. Is he even still on the team?
I don't think so. Jermaine Ulumanor. Sorry if I mispronounced that. Wouldn't know. Devin Singletary, who
Mm-hmm.
now is not the starter anymore, and Drew Lock, who they
They won't play.
refuse to start under any circumstances. Oh, they also brought in Isaiah McKenzie and
Mm.
former backup tight end for the Eagles, Jack Stoll. That is the free agency class that they brought in with the money they saved on Saquon Barkley. This comes 2 years after they lost Leonard Williams and Julian Love on defense, and in the same free agency where they lost Xavier McKinney. So
Mm.
congratulations on saving that money on Saquon to rebuild the team elsewhere. You are doing a phenomenal job, Giants. Love the strategy. Keep up the great work there in the Giants front office.
I still can't believe they won 2 Super Bowls in the 2000s.
Insane. They haven't won the division in 10 years. So good. And then I see it's tank is a good thing. Well, if you're doing it for 10 years, then I don't think it is.
Yeah, you actually have to successfully tank. Like, and then
They have not won the division since the boat thing. Like
yeah,
that
that
joke keeps happening on Twitter, and it's been a decade now.
literally.
It's crazy to think about. Odell's been on 3 different teams since they won.
And had 2 different knee surgeries.
He won a Super Bowl.
Literally.
Crazy. But yeah, Saquon's awesome. Also, I think this will probably get a lot of guys all pros on that line, but their communication is top notch. Peter Schrager had a great take where they're get off the bus scary. And that goes back. That's like another high school football analogy. Like you look at a team across and be like, I'm doing the math and the math is not math. And they have more big people than we have big people.
Yes.
And
Yep.
everybody's felt that feeling in sports. We're like, everybody on their team looks bigger than our team. This doesn't seem good.
That's
So
like in the movie Friday Night Lights. Remember at the end where they have to go up against that like Dallas East team or whatever, and they like came off the bus and they're all just like massive, and they're like, "What the like?" That's them. Yeah, yeah.
It's like that. So I thought that was a really good take because this is a massive offensive line. But I think their communication, they rarely ever miss assignments and blocking. It just looks like poetically, aesthetically pleasing the way they block in a way that only the Lions and Eagles do.
They
It's just
also have
really,
the
really
best
fun to watch.
offensive line coach in the league.
He should deserve awards. Mekhi Becton is playing great, who was just like a cast off from the Jets, who's now a very reliable guard who hits
Fred
the second
Johnson.
level. What?
Fred Johnson.
Fred Johnson was giving you playing time. He hasn't played in 3 years and was giving you reliable stats. I was impressed with the Rams. Fisk and Verse are legit, but even then, like
Verse ran through Mulata at one. I mean, Mulata was a little. If you look at his technique, he was too high. It was just like one bad snap by Mulata, but he ran through him, and I was like,
"Yep." And Verse timed that so well. I thought it was offsides in the moment, and they did throw a flag, and it was illegal shift on us. I was like, "Well, that's offsides. There's no way somebody had that good of a get off." So they're good, and you know what? On the road, I know there were a ton of Eagles fans, but still, and you'll need it again. Like this will be another game where you need offensive line communication to excel on the road against the Ravens, who can be run on. The secondary is a little, but they can run on him. So you're going right back to the same game plan. And they executed so well. The utilization of AJ Brown, it wasn't just try to throw it over the top, right?
Nope.
Like it was play. They had one play where I remember play action across the middle, 12 yards, AJ Brown. Deal. Love it. That first drive, even though it got stuffed, like the little shovel pass to Dallas Goedert, changing it up, doing new things. I really, really liked the game plan, and obviously it worked well.
And they didn't have Devontae Smith.
They don't have Devontae Smith. We're doing this show Tuesday because of the slate that's coming out on Thursday. I don't know if he'll play. Hamstrings are weird, but he did have like a mini bye and missed the game, so hopefully he is back.
Yep. Yeah, it's the vibes are there.
They're the opposite of last year. They really are. Also, I saw this from our good friend Brandon Deeg, friend of the program, friend online. Nick Sirianni, with the loss by Harbaugh on Sunday night or Monday Night Football, now has the best winning percentage in the entire NFL. Nick Sirianni. He might just be Ted Lasso. We all just think he's a moron, and he's not.
Yep. Literally.
It helps that they put together a really good team for him, but he might just be a good coach.
I think Howie has a little bit to say about that as well.
I would say the overhaul in the drafting strategy definitely has helped the process.
After he broke out of the closet that Chip Kelly put him in.
Correct. He came back with vengeance.
Yeah.
Speaking of the drafting strategy, Quignon and Cooper DeJean were awesome yet again. DeJean calling out the play and where Cooper Kupp was going to run his route 2 months into his NFL career. I mean,
White on white crime.
Again, as what?
White on white crime.
White on white crime all night. I don't know if is Puka white?
No.
I didn't think so. Cooper Kupp versus Cooper DeJean.
Samoan or
is he
Samoan or Hawaiian or
yeah.
Well, I think he's like Pacific Islander, I would say probably.
Did you see that he didn't know that they played in the NFC West?
Yes.
That was awesome.
It's just like, how?
Did he just like one day be like, damn, we keep playing the Cardinals a lot?
Yeah. Yeah.
I would have loved to be there when he asked that question, or like the realization happened that they are in the NFC West. Like, why do we play the Seahawks so many times?
Hilarious.
Incredible. Mm-hmm. One more Eagles thing with the defense. There was two obvious things what the Rams were doing that the broadcast called out. One that we talked about was double teaming Jalen Carter. Yep. And I thought the other guys on the defensive line really stepped up. The other was targeting the side of the field that Quinyon Mitchell wasn't on, whether it was Darius Slay, and then when he got injured, they brought in Isaiah Rodgers and they targeted him as well. I don't think these strategies are Rams in a silo. I think you're going to see it for the rest of the year. Now, I've seen this insinuated before that maybe just sit Darius Slay. He's been banged up all year with a knee and now has a concussion. Who knows if he even passes concussion protocol. Anyway, you might just have to give him a week at his age. Just be like, listen, we need you. We're 9-2. We have the division starting to get a stranglehold on it. Like, we need you for the long run. If they're going to target you every week and your body breaks down by December 15th, this is no good.
Yep.
If that's the case, Isaiah Rodgers didn't look great. That pass interference on him was a bad call, but aside from that, they did get a few targets in on him that were good. And I think you're going to see the same thing. Like, they're going to put Rashad Bateman and test him. And I don't know. Like I said at one point, like, do you just go Kaylee Ringo and try to see? Because if
you've seen good things out of him.
Yeah, like I thought when he played pretty well. He's played well on special teams. And it was one of those things. It's like, all right, well, we saw we got out of Rodgers. You might as well try something different. Yep. So we'll see what happens with the cornerback 2 position this week, whether it's Slay who's healthy enough, whether he's healthy, quote unquote, enough and doesn't play. And if he doesn't, if it's Rodgers or if it's Ringo, I don't know who you would go with at this point.
I feel like it's a roll of the dice, flip a coin.
It is, and maybe it's just like by committee, and it's like, all right, play the hot hand.
Yep.
But it did very much look like in the NBA. Duncan Robinson has said this before. Like when you get late in playoffs, it's just LeBron choosing the worst defender on the team, calling him out in the pick and roll so he can get the switch and bringing him. Yes. And Duncan Robinson was like, it's always me. Like they were always bringing me to switch onto the best player on the team. I felt like I was watching that on a football field. They're like, okay, who's on Rodgers? Yeah. We're sending the ball that way. Yeah, it was that for 3 quarters.
Yeah.
So We got to figure that thing out. And but defense has been phenomenal. That second quarter, 3 sacks, three and outs, negative yards from the Rams. They continue to really excel on third downs. And then last thing, Eagles wise, I feel like we gotta at least end on it and touch on it. Brandon Graham, I want to
Mm.
cry.
You think he comes back now?
I don't think so. I really
He
don't.
is the longest tenured Eagle, correct? I was telling my wife that this morning.
He is for sure. And this is like I feel this one's been hitting me hard, even harder than Kelsey, which is crazy to think about, or Fletcher Cox. But if you think about it, I'm turning 30, and Brandon Graham has played for this team for 15 years. He's played on this team for half of my life.
It's
Half of my
wild.
life has been watching Brandon Graham play. And when guys get to the end of their career, it's usually like a swan song, there it's like a farewell tour. No, he's still insanely productive
Yep.
and was insanely productive and disruptive in that game against the Rams. So it's not just tough because he's such a good person and just been an icon in the city. They're losing a very valuable piece at that defensive end position who was dialing up pressure and tackles for loss constantly for them. So I don't know what the plan is. I've seen some veteran free agents' names tossed out there, but it goes without saying there is one Brandon Graham and one Brandon Graham only.
Yeah, and he's the type of guy too that like even as a Cowboys fan, like even though like he wears that hat with the X over the star, like he's not hateable. I don't
Not
I
hateable.
he like he's a good like he talks a lot of shit and
Yeah.
trash on the field, but he's also like funny. Like 2 seconds later he's like funny.
He like
Um
laughs about it. He's like,
yeah,
he doesn't ever cross a line with the trash talk. It's like harmless trash talk. So he's like
yes.
constantly talking, but yet never, like, you're never mad at him.
No. I've seen him like living in this area. I've seen all the charity stuff he does. He's out at like Chicky and Pete's all the time. Has no
Mhm.
problems being out with the fans. You can tell he actually like enjoys it. Like you said, he's still good at it too. Um, and it's also crazy. Like to me, so I'm 37. He's literally exactly 1 year younger than me, and it's just
Crazy.
like
And still delivering on a football field. He
I,
had a sack.
I'm about to deliver on the football field on Thursday. Okay, Abe?
On they're at the Turkey Bowl. They're gonna have a sack in the Turkey Bowl. They're gonna fucking annihilate some 45-year-old guy
Oh,
in that neighborhood. He's not gonna even see it coming.
oh, I can't wait. I can't wait.
Hit him
I
from
gotta
the
go get my
blind side.
cleats.
2
If
years, varsity.
so, if this does happen, I will set up my phone and record the whole thing, or go live from like. You have to show me how to go live on TikTok or something.
Yes. That actually probably would play.
Yeah.
We'll put you on TikTok live and or you remember that site Huddle? We'll do Kevin
Oh,
Messina
yeah.
Huddle highlights.
I wonder if I could like go on Amazon if they have like a phone holder like that I could like wear.
They
Like
definitely
so that
do.
could be like my point of
Kids are
view.
doing that. I've
Huh?
watched the clips. Kids are doing that. Like they're wearing like GoPro style things and recording their high school tape. It's kind of crazy because I've seen it with running backs. It's kind of wild to see. It's like seeing what they're seeing.
All right, I gotta find out if this game is happening. If it is, I'm in.
Yes, do it. And then one last Brandon Graham thing. My dream, bookmark it here. I'm watching a highlight in February. I'm crying because it starts with Brandon Graham's strip sack in the Super Bowl. It then goes to Nolan Smith getting a sack early in his career, earlier this season, and going straight to Brandon Graham and hugging him. And then Nolan Smith getting a strip sack in the Super Bowl this year, the Eagles winning, and him hugging Brandon Graham again. And
Mm.
it's the ultimate passing of the torch from one guy to another in Eagles lore to get us another Super Bowl victory. That is my dream. And I can see myself crying to that video nonstop come February. Bookmark it now.
No, that means then it's gonna have to be over the Chiefs if it's if he's
True.
sacking a goat.
True.
So, and it would all where Super Bowl's in New Orleans, right?
It is.
For the 43rd time in my life, I feel like.
Dude. Yeah, that the fact that they play the Sugar Bowl there every year, it's like, all right, we
We
got
got
it.
it, guys. We got it. Awesome. Well, we hope everybody enjoys their very dangerous Thanksgiving, the most dangerous holiday there is out there. Be safe. If you're playing in a turkey bowl, stretch. If you are deep frying a turkey, do it outside. If you are sitting at a political table, sometimes you just got to shut up and don't ensue domestic violence or have a heart attack. So stay away from the 5 fears of Thanksgiving. So enjoy your day. Like Aiden said, also, don't bet on the Cowboys-Giants game. Enjoy your family.
Yes.
Okay. And just have fun. Enjoy the holiday. I will keep you updated on my turkey bowl. The vibes are high in Philly. The vibes have been unfortunately high in Dallas this week. Let's maybe bring the vibes back down a little bit. I would love to see Drew Lock dancing on the sideline, enjoying himself in a Giants uniform this week. So make sure you're subscribed here to our YouTube channel if you haven't yet. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Hit that subscribe button. Anywhere we are on socials, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, we are there. Make sure that you click on the link below the original tweet if you were on TikTok trying to find our videos, because we can't put them in the
Twitter
regular tweet on Twitter.
Cool app.
And then anywhere you listen to full podcasts, we are there as well. So happy Thanksgiving. Aiden, happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
And then we will have some special content coming up in the middle of December, something that may be happening for one person's birthday in the show. So that'll be fun. Enjoy it, everybody.
Chris Hansen here, and I'm going to need you all to take a seat right over there and check out Birds versus Boys.
I think you're completely right here, and I hate it.
Yep. Hey, idiots. Stop doing dumb things. I got 2 phones.
Upset alert. Upset alert.
I might go insane.
I think you're already there. There's no hope. Hope is gone.
If this was an AFC North podcast, we'd be done in 15 minutes.
Bob Hope.
I'm going to drink bleach.
That is?
Be the team you promised me you were going to be this year!
This is the Consciously Hopeful podcast.
I'll be watching.